Martin, I'm curious. As you became a nomad, or maybe you already became a nomad, but what were some of what were the urges that I guess that pushed you to become a nomad? What were your motivations,
Mm,
purpose, objectives? Can you talk about that?
sure, sure. One of the major things was when I was like in Germany, I see how the world function over there in Germany and how we live. So much luxury life, I would call it. But how we lived before, how we actually lived about 30, 40,000 years ago. So that was one of my major urge to actually go out in the world and see or find even tribes, they still live the same way. And the first years of my journey, like especially in the Philippines, I kind of see so much poverty over there, in which type of situations people still have a happy life. But I like to go much deeper into that. I
Mm.
kind of like to go back to the cave people and see how they had managed their life without anything we have, with clothes, with the
Watch.
metals, the watch, with anything we have, right?
Uh-huh.
So after 3, 4 years, I think I was brave enough then on that point to actually go in the jungle. It was in Vanuatu to just have my backpack and go in the jungle and trust that I will meet some humans there and they maybe will accept me in their tribe and then I can learn from them. And yeah, I did that. So it was in Vanuatu. I just walked in the jungle and met some people. They brought me to the tribe. And when you go to a new tribe, you always have to go to the chief. And the chief is like the boss from the village, and then he will accept you or not. I never was not accepted. They're super, super, just like open to everyone. You know? And then from that tribes, I went further and further and deeper in the jungle, where that tribe brought me to the next tribe. A person from this tribe brought me to the next tribe. And then I found tribes, they still live the same way like thousands of years ago. They don't even have clothes, so I wear then a bamboo belt too, and just the skin from a tree. And that was actually that experience what I was looking for all the years. And I found so much happiness in their tribes, and they are totally fine with everything they have there. They are provided from nature, whatever they need, and nature.
So the one of the motivation, or the primary motivation, was to explore and see how people lived from before technology, before all the things that we have.
Mhm.
That's one of the important reasons why you became a nomad after.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Because especially as a nomad, you have that life what we humans had before.
Mhm.
Kind of a lot of tribes was nomads before, because food just changed all the time. Seasons are changing.
Yeah.
Because of that natural ways, human had to change too, and had to kind of then adapt to places too.
Yeah. Yeah. Most societies, I understood from reading the works of anthropologists that society was hunter-gatherer, hunting, picking berries from the trees, and so most societies were like that before we became an agricultural society. Um, so how what are some of the interesting things that you saw about these tribes, how they lived, that you think people like us who live in modern society with comfort, with water just from faucets, what's one or two things you can share with us that I don't know that can make us I don't know something that we can really learn from these people?
Mm.
Yeah.
One thing, for example, is they are going in the forest, they're getting their food together for the next 3 days, they don't have to do anything. They have all their food, so what they need, they have a river close by, or like a creek, or like a freshwater spring.
Hmm.
So we in this society now, we think we have to work 8, 9 hours every single day in the week and get maybe 2 days off. Then on the weekend, some of the nations, they don't even have the 2 days off. They work 7 days in a week. and it got kind of implemented in our consciousness that we have to function like that.
Mm.
And there, I just seen too, we don't have to. Like, if we have the nature around us, which is providing us, we actually don't have to work in that type of system.
So modern technology brings a lot of convenience, right? We can travel to very far away places to see things that we normally don't have the chance to see that's close to us, and that's a real one of the benefits of modern technology. But what I'm hearing from you is that, in fact, life can be very simple. These people work because they work to find the food that they need.
That's it.
But after they have the food, they're not looking to buy the newest television or the latest smartphone. They're not bothered with those kind of things. So
I still have to say on that point
Yeah.
that the most of the tribes I met, they actually like to develop. So the first tribes closer to the ocean,
uh-huh.
they're having clothes, they're
Yeah.
having even a smartphone in these days
Uh-huh.
because they have a solar panel spent from some type of the NGOs.
Okay.
But if you go closer and deeper, I mean in the forest, if you go deeper on the islands, there are people they don't like to develop. So
Okay.
they actually say to the missionaries hundreds of years ago, like 100 years ago, they told them, we don't need the Christianity. We don't need all of that, what you're bringing here to us.
Yeah.
We like to stay like that.
Yeah.
But sadly, or maybe not sadly, but there are tribes like that around. They like to develop so much like us. They see them, oh
Right.
wow, they have like this, they have like that, so they would like to have something like that too. So it's kind of an urge from humankind, I think, to develop. But some of the tribes, I'm happy that they still like to stay how they are.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just have a little bit of a philosophical discussion.
Mhm.
It's personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with creating new technology.
I agree.
Uh, I think it can bring a lot of benefits. Well, airplane, I mean, it's great to be able to travel to faraway places and to meet new people.
Yeah.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
traveling.
Yeah.
I think the problem becomes when we worship technology and it starts to own our lives,
Yes.
that we become slaves to technology.
I totally agree. It's depend how we use it
How we use it.
and not just abuse us from the technology. Because we can get stuck into all of that. We can be on Facebook or like on some social media every day for many hours. But that's not fulfilling us.
Yeah.
It's more like the type of human interaction what is more fulfilling. And I think many people miss out on that more and more in these days.
Yes, yes.
And
So-
the same, I would just
Please.
kind of add that for like the airplanes, for example. Yes, I'm super happy too that we have that opportunity to travel that ways. It's just we are not in that more sustainable.
Yeah. So, so what does sustainable mean to you?
Mm.
And maybe related to the people that you had the chance to live with in the jungles, the tribes.
Yeah, there are lots of examples I could bring. One of the sustainable ways of living found in Vanuatu jungle in South Island. For example, there was a huge hurricane coming over 312 kilometers in the hour. It had destroyed so many houses, lands, it took out huge trees. It destroyed a lot of the vegetation. So now they let grow the coconut on the tree for the next 3 years. So they will not touch the trees for 2 years, that they actually can regrow their coconuts and the food for the people. And that's super sustainable. I think lots of people just climb up a tree fast and get that coconut down, which is like there. But they can wait for that. They know that they have to wait because then it just gets back to a sustainable moment where they can just grab every day a coconut from some trees because it's just regrowing again pretty well.
So sustainability means you have more patience waiting for nature to reproduce.
Yeah.
But what's the reason why they want to get it earlier and sooner? What's the reason?
I think like I would compare it with our society. We just
Uh-huh.
like to have it now. We like to have it fast. We like to have it not tomorrow, like then the next day. Like we are growing up in our type of society, like in the Western Europe, that we like to have things now.
Yeah.
And they are more patient. They follow the rhythm, the circle of nature. And
Uh-huh.
if we can do that, we live more sustainable with nature than together.
Okay. So really, to be sustainable means that you follow the cycle of the nature,
Mhm.
and that you don't try to take from nature before it's ready. Actually,
Hmm. Don't force it.
yeah, don't force it. Because I guess for these coconuts, if they take it too soon, it's not ripe, it's not mature yet, and
Um,
they have to try to sell it for money. I guess.
no.
Huh?
They just like to have it for food for themselves.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's really just not, or maybe a trade with another tribe. But like the coconut, so by itself it was ready, but they still said we don't touch it now because we wait that more coconuts will grow and that the vegetation comes back and then we can live like so before. So they kind of suffer a little bit,
Uh-huh.
but to just reach that kind of paradise again where they have all the different fruits and then the vegetables are growing everywhere around again.
Okay, I see. So I want to just come back and close the story that you started to share, which is the tribal people, the hunter gatherers. Are they
Mm.
hunter gatherers, the people you stayed with, or are they growing their own food?
I mean, there are tribes, like the most of the tribes having their gardens.
Uh huh.
So they have cassava or like the manioc. They are kind of worldwide known, even if it's in Cuba, if it's in South America, then they're on the islands, in Fiji and so on. They're using mostly that type of the vegetables, that are roots. So what they do is they take out the cassava, then you have like the big roots. They are tasted a little bit like potato, and from the stem from the tree, they take like a little piece, they cut it, they just put it in the ground, and then they wait. They have to wait about 3 months, and then the new cassava tree is there. They can just get it out again because the weather does everything for them. Because of the raining season and then the dry season, they always have enough actually rain and sun that the things just bloom so by itself.
You just have to plant it, and the weather will do everything else.
That's it. They never go back to that place. They just go back to that place where they planted when it's ready.
Okay. They plant things, but they also get food from different places.
Yeah. So, for example, sometimes they go to a little creek or like a little river or like a little hole, they call it. It's just water places. They have like a little spear and they go in and dive in little cracks in the rocks for some crabs, for some little prawns, for some little fish. So they will add that to their food. You have still always something different to eat too.
Yeah. Final question about this story. So for these people to live well, do they seem happy to you?
Super happy.
They seem super happy.
Super happy.
And so they're super happy. If they work, they have enough to eat. They don't have to work 7 days a week,
No.
12 hours a day. And I guess they have friendship. They have relationship with each other.
Yeah, in
their
their
community.
tribe, exactly, in their own tribe. Yeah.
So do you think a person needs more than that to be happy in life? Well, generally speaking, I think everyone has special things that they want to do.
Yes.
But just at the basics,
Mm.
is it possible to?
I mean, they wouldn't be like that
Yeah.
if they wouldn't be on the same stage of life where they are thousands of years ago if they are not happy. So they would try to make some changes. Like lots of tribes are doing that, to getting clothes, to getting their manioc or the cassava or the bananas to sell it in some of the village to get some money over there to just buy things like toys for their children made from plastic, things like that. So in a lot of tribes it's changing so much actually, and not really on a good way, how I could see that. Because if some person brings a plastic toy for his child in, for sure all of the other children will be curious and kind of jealous maybe even
Yeah.
to not have that.
Right.
You know? So it's kind of a difficult thing to see how they are developing and in which way they are developing, and how Western people had a strongly type of influence there, because the most of the islands are got like, they got like occupied from like Americans, for example, in the Second World War, so they had their stations around there. So that they kind of seen helicopters, they kind of seen things like that. They was hiding for that. They really was totally afraid for the new technologies which they couldn't like then see or couldn't like then understand. But some of them have the urge to be like them. That's a big thing in our world, and I think for me it's like the opposite. I come from that place, from Germany, having everything, so I like to know how it is without all of that.
Yeah, yeah. What was life like before all the influence of
Mm-hmm.
technology?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, okay. So thank you for sharing that about those details.
Mm.
I want to ask. Well, I want to ask about the way you live your life as a nomad, right? So I think people might have the idea or the image that a nomad doesn't plan anything and just lives his life, just like that,
Mm.
one day to the next.
Mm.
And maybe that's kind of romantic, you know? But
Mm.
talking to you, I get the feeling, and you give me real examples
Mm.
that you do plan according to
Mhm.
the season,
Mhm.
according to the weather,
Yeah.
and you make goals actually about
Yeah.
what you do. So
Yeah.
maybe you can share, because
I think. Yeah. I
the
think.
balance between
Right.
just drifting
Yeah.
and actually still being clear about your purpose, clear
Mm.
about your goals.
Mm.
Can you talk about that?
Sure. On the one side, I have to say first, if you see like the Mongolian nomads, they traveling through the season,
Yeah.
right? Because they are like depend to the season where they can bring their goats and their animals that they can get enough food, but then they have to get a kind of a stable place where they are stay a bit longer than the winter time. So nomads, what I heard and seen, they following the natural way, and I think that's what I did too, kind of unconsciously in the beginning, but later on more like consciously.
Uh-huh.
um, to not be in the winter time, for example, in Germany, because that's like, for example, a time where you enjoy life on a different way and having a bit more time for reflect and things like that, but not to go out in nature and experience like the nature so much. You know? So it's a different time period, I guess.
Yeah, because you're selling your art on the streets where there are a lot of people passing
Yeah.
by, and you were telling me how in the wintertime people are not out on the streets.
That's it. Yeah.
So you
Or
plan
I don't
ahead.
like to be on the street too. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you plan. Yeah. Go
Exactly.
ahead.
Yeah. So I had to plan for that too.
Yeah.
Because of the weather condition, and for like that reason, I went back the last 9 years mostly in that areas from Australia, because when we have winter in Europe, then there's the summer. So I just followed the summer the last 9 years,
Yeah.
and
You're like the bird, the swallow. They go south.
that's it. That's it. When the winter hits, then I don't like to be there. Even I love snowboarding a lot, and I love the winter a lot.
Yeah.
But for my life in the last years, it was kind of necessary too to move on. And
Okay.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think that's how it worked for me. And another really important thing, because
Yeah.
you asked for the goals,
Yeah.
I had a
Just
lot
gonna
of
ask about
yeah,
that.
yeah, I had a lot of dreams in my life. One of my major dreams was to see like the rice fields in Vietnam.
Uh-huh.
So just before about 4 or 5 years, I went the first time there. Even that could have been my first destination, but I thought it's nice to keep a dream and to fulfill it on some point later,
Mm-hmm.
to actually still have that type of dreams and the goals. I think if we travel without goals and without dreams, people are getting lost. I met a lot of people. Um, they are traveling around the world too, or maybe in some of the countries, but they're kind of losing themselves through that. They're actually not gaining stuff. Like they're not gaining more knowledge or ways of their own happiness. They don't gain that. So they're just kind of losing themselves and don't know what to do so with their life then because they don't figure it out. They don't look really for it, what they really like to do in their life. They kind of just follow and see how it goes and what is maybe working out for some people. But for me, it didn't appear like that this would be like the right way to do. I still let things happen when I'm on places. I still like to be open for the most situations which could have happened to myself. And then I have new experience. Every single day I have new experience. Every single day, all people have new experience if we are conscious about it.
So, so one thing you said caught my ear,
Mm-hmm.
which is if people, some people they just kind of drift and they kind of lose themselves,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things you said earlier was to be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But to be yourself means you know yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Like to find out who
You
you
have to
are.
find out who
That's
you
it.
are.
That's it.
And the example you're giving is you have dreams,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's
Yeah.
when we hear dreams, we think something big, like I want to build, an airplane. But a
Mm-hmm.
dream can be very simple.
Mm-hmm.
You want to see the rice field.
That's
You
it.
want to work as a window washer,
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
can see the world,
That's it.
which you told me earlier.
Yeah.
So, how does a person? So yeah, say more about that. What does it mean to find yourself as you when you live as a nomad? How do you find yourself more and more? How do you know yourself more and more?
Mm. By trying things. Just keep trying so many things you can do in your life. That's
trying
keep just trying things. What you think you could be comfortable with,
Uh-huh.
and then you figure out you like it or you don't like it.
Uh-huh.
That's one of the major things. That's the one reason why I did so many different types of jobs.
Uh-huh.
For example, I know I don't like to work in service, so I just don't go and work in a service.
Like
but
a waiter or
That's
yeah.
it. That's it. That's one major thing in my life. I don't like to serve people just because they have money.
Uh-huh.
I don't even order food. I never had ordered food for myself yet to
Okay.
bring it to my home or things like that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I don't think that's the right way in humanity to do that.
Okay.
Because then we go back to having slaves and things like that, right?
Uh-huh.
It's similar. I mean, you see how that waiter jobs or like the bicycle food guys are bringing food to the people. It's like they get not much paid for that hard work they are actually doing. So we are going in that way, kind of a wrong way, I think.
Okay.
It's
So
just my own opinion.
well, it's fine. It's one of the things that what you think about that.
Mhm,
I think one of the ways you grow is to know what your opinion is about things because it's related to your principles as well.
Mhm.
So I think it's not about right or wrong. It's just that you have certain views. But okay, so the I think there's so many lessons we learn in life, and from stories we hear a lot of lessons. But what I'm hearing from you is that even when you live as a nomad, it's not like it's not like you're just doing whatever you want. I know you are doing the things you want.
Mhm.
I don't know if you can make a difference for us here.
Mhm.
Doing whatever you want and doing what you want. Do you kind of hear what I'm saying here?
I'm trying to think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, on that point, for example, you do what you want, but don't harm anyone else. That's, I think, one of the major rules I'm following. If we're following that, the world would be a better place. No. But someone maybe have something in themselves. They would love to do something, but they actually would harm someone else through that. So there should be kind of limits on that.
Okay. So when you're doing what you want, it's really things that you're curious about,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And it's not about doing something at the expense of other people,
Yeah. Exactly.
taking advantage of other people.
That's the last thing I like to do.
Okay, so for you the difference is because yeah, when people hear doing whatever you want, it's like okay,
Mm.
I'm gonna like you know go, go drink so much, do drugs,
Mm.
do some really
Mm.
things that hurt other people,
Mm.
whatever. So when people hear doing whatever you want, they
Mm.
think that.
Mm.
But yes, I'm trying to draw from you. What does it mean to follow what you want?
Mm.
What does it mean to follow? Like, how do you tap into that deeper desire
Mm.
that I think, well, is very simple and very pure, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you tap into those things? Because some
Mm.
people actually don't know what they want.
Exactly,
You know?
exactly. It's like I think the most of the people they don't know so what they want, and that's why we should try so many things how we can to actually figure out what we want in life.
Yeah.
For me, one thing in my life is I like to try a lot of different things to see how I feel with that. One
Yeah.
of the things is I like to feel like like the adrenaline in life.
Yeah.
So just recently I did like a base jump, like with the parachute and stuff like that. So that was a really wonderful experience. And
That's
5 years before that, I did a bungee jump, and these are all experience I like to give to myself for like the adrenaline. I still like to go in life to the limits and see how they are and see how the contrasts are in life. Even if it's like going to a 5-star hotel, having like a and like super amazing breakfast and stuff like that, and being the day before just in a place where our tribes are living and living like with them from the food what we gathered. These are the contrasts in life what I am looking for. This is one of the major things. What is like my motivation why I'm doing that. The contrasts.
Yeah. Yeah. So you know what you're looking for. Actually, you're looking for
Mm.
contrast.
Mm.
You're looking for the
Yeah.
adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
And people might have other things they look for, and it's fine.
That's it.
But
That's it.
they have to try to know what they're looking for.
Yep.
I think.
Yep.